Ohio State takes on Duke, 7:15 Eastern tip-off on Wednesday, November 30th, 2022. Duke's -5.5, totals 136 and a hook. I'm 4-0 in my last 4 extra daily bets on my website. Now, the Blue Devils are coming fresh off a 19-point loss to Purdue a few days ago. They were held to just 56 points in the loss. When it comes to covering, the Blue Devils failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. Now, Duke's biggest issue has been their shooting. These guys are struggling shooting the ball from the field. They're also making just 29% of their three-pointers. They're facing a one-loss Ohio State team who does a great job guarding the three-pointer themselves. They're limiting their opponents to just 26% shooting from beyond the arc. They also allow just 61 points a game, and they do a nice job of rebounding the basketball. They're currently in the top 25 in offensive boards. Now, 6'8" junior Zed Key is bringing down 8.5 rebounds a night, along with 12 points. Meanwhile, Bryce Sensabaugh is the team's leading scorer, and he drills 46% of his 3 balls. Now, injury-wise, Bauman and Brown are out for the Buckeyes. When it comes to the total, 3 out of Ohio State's last 5 outings did stay under the number. Meanwhile, Duke saw all of their games this year stay under the total except for one. I'm going to lean toward Ohio State plus 5.5, keeping this one close, under 136 and a hook. Next ball game, it is going to be Notre Dame taking on Michigan State, and that'll be a 9:15 Eastern start time. Michigan State is -3, totals 137. Now, Sparty got the W in 4 out of their last 5. Those were victories over the likes of Oregon, Villanova, and Kentucky. Joey Hauser is knocking down over 47% of his shots from three-land. He's actually second on the team in scoring. Meanwhile, Pierre Brooks, he's making 41% of his shots from downtown. Now, they're facing a Notre Dame team who's coming fresh off a 12-point loss to St. Bonaventure. The Irish got held to just 51 points in that loss. And out of Notre Dame's games this year, they've covered the point spread only 1 time. They're having a tough time grabbing offensive rebounds this year. When it comes to defensive play, they're letting their opponents make 46% of their field goals against them. Now, injury-wise, Sanders and Hammond are out for Notre Dame. Campbell is questionable. Meanwhile, for Michigan State, Hall's still out for them. Akins is doubtful. When it comes to the total, Sparty saw their last 5 straight all get over the line. Meanwhile, Notre Dame saw overs against the likes of Youngstown State and Radford. I'm going to lean toward Michigan State -3 over 137. Next matchup, it is going to be North Carolina taking on Indiana, 9:15 East. Indiana's -5, totals 148. Now, the undefeated Hoosiers covered in all of their games except for 1. When it comes to shooting the basketball, there's not many teams shooting better from the field than Indy. These guys are in the top 3 in the country in offensive field goal percentage. Now, no real surprise here, guys. Their 89 points a game ranks in the top 10 as well. Trace Jackson Davis is scoring a team-best 18 points a game, along with 8 boards. Meanwhile, Xavier Johnson is drilling 67% of his three-pointers. He's also averaging 11 points a night. But it's not just all offense in Indy. These guys are a top 20 defensive rebounding team. They're allowing just 59 points a game, and they're limiting their opponents to 36% shooting from the field. Now, UNC doesn't shoot it great themselves. These guys are making just 30% of their shots from long range. When it comes to defensive play, the Tar Heels have been getting kind of torched. They're allowing over 75 points a night, and they're struggling grabbing defensive boards. Now, injury-wise, Washington's out. Baycott is questionable. Meanwhile, for Indy, Galloway and Leal are questionable for them. When it comes to the total, 3 out of UNC's last 5 did stay under the line. Meanwhile, Indiana saw unders recently against Jackson State and Miami, Ohio. I'm going to lean toward Indiana -5, under 148. With that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. I like Lipscomb -4 over 137. Wyoming +7 over 137.5. UMass Lowell -14 under 133. Binghamton -3 under 133. I'm 4-0 my last 4 extra daily bets on my website. Give me LaSalle +6 under 135. Kansas State +3 under 136. VCU -1.5 under 131. Georgia Bulldogs -18 over 141. Hofstra +4 over 138. Western Michigan +18 under 129. Hartford +8 over 148. Yale -12.5 over 134 and a hook. Richmond +5 over 144. Middle Tennessee +4 under 132. Holy Cross +10 over 140. High Point -11.5 over 145. Citadel +3.5 under 137 and a hook. Florida Atlantic -5 under 141. Marshall -4 under 144. Drexel -7.5 under 119 and a hook. Sacred Heart +2 over 143.5. Indiana State +3 over 148. Florida International -7 over 162. Maryland Eastern Shore -1 under 142. Chattanooga -6 over 139.5. Western Carolina +2 over 136. NCAT +5 over 131. Coppin State +4 over 155. Cincinnati -20 under 134. Bucknell -5 under 139. McNeese State +25 over 132. Rutgers +4 under 137. Purdue -14.5 over 140 and a hook. Ohio State +5.5 under 136.5 points. Florida Gulf Coast -5 under 138. Maine +11 under 132. Jacksonville +14 under 140.5. Coastal Carolina -1.5 under 132 and a hook. UT Rio Grande +9 over 154. Delaware State +7 under 133. Missouri State -4 under 135. Southern Illinois -9 under 123. Northern Iowa +7 under 137. Western Kentucky -8 under 132. North Alabama +26 over 142. Prairie View +6 over 148. Ryder -8.5 under 140. Georgetown +17 under 138. Providence +6 under 136. Florida Gators -32 over 139. Texas A&M -11.5 over 138 and a hook. Iowa State -24 under 135. Eastern Illinois +6 under 128. South Indiana -4 over 149. St. Joe's +5 over 143.5. Southeast Louisiana +23 over 153 and a hook. Samford with an F +4 over 154. Sanford +4 over 152. Central Arkansas +14 under 143. Loyola Marymount +7 over 141. Air Force -12.5 under 127 and a hook. UTEP +5 over 135. George Washington -3 over 134. Tennessee State +20 over 148. Southern Utah -2.5 over 144.5. Boston College +5 under 130 and a hook. Michigan State -3 over 137. Indiana -5 under 148. USC -9 under 127. UC Riverside +5 under 131. New Mexico +10 under 137.5. Seattle -9 over 137. And with my next and final free pick, give me San Francisco -17 over 151.